Right, well, I've come back out to the sites I like to be in. There's actually less snow here than I thought. That in that distance over there, there's always a deep pile of snow over there. Always, it just catches the snow in that particular spot. So I've come out here. I've just set up my sawhorse. As I've shown people in the past, it's just a branch smacked into the ground with a point on it. I do have a piece of cord that I leave out here, but I take it off the tree when I go because I don't want to strangle the tree. My clothes rack. This is where I stand on my bits and pieces. Got a couple of pegs on there. Sun is just coming up. Nice. I timed that just right. I wanted to get here for about sun up. But the wind's supposed to die down. Look at the wind in the trees. When I was doing one of my videos the other day, I was saying about being careful where you camp and the wind in the trees because it will break stuff off. Now at this particular location, I have firewood stashed up here. I've got piles of firewood. You'll see I have these ones leaning in the trees. That's not natural. That's how I stack them. Yeah, if you look all around here, you'll find these big long ones stacked in the trees like this. This is my emergency wood supply. So I'm just going to have a scout around, see what I can find for wood to cut up. As I was saying about transition fire the other day, there's a couple in here. If you look at this one here, right, I wouldn't push on that tree because the top of that tree could easily snap out. This one here, I'm not going to cut it down because I don't need it, but if shit come to bust and I had to spend a night out here, this tree is a good size. It's completely dead, top to bottom. It's covered in little branches. I can cut that one out. It's only about 50 feet, I guess. I could cut that out. This whole forest is full of them. There's another one over there. I don't cut those out, and I don't cut up those big logs because there's a good benefit for the forest for them being there. It also keeps the wind down. As you can see, it's pretty windy today. But I'm going to find some wood, cut up some stuff. I can see quite a bit on the ground. There's some over there. I'm just going to go and scout that out, and then we'll come back. Now, the fire pit's full of snow. I've just dug it around in there just to, once I get a fire in there, it'll be good. I've got the bench. I don't need to put up a shelter. I do have a shelter with me should I need to put one up. I have everything I need: hat, gloves, mitts, everything. There was a debate the other day about whether an axe or a saw or a knife is the best thing to have with it, so I'm going to discuss that in a mo. But, I do have my bear spray with me. I have several bear sprays with me today. Although it's winter, bears are not inactive, they are less active, so always be aware that there are bears around. So yeah, and I didn't see any track on the way up here. I saw a track for just about everything else. I didn't see any track for bears, so that's good. Right, I'm going to go and find some firewood and I'll be back in a moment. Right, so as I've mentioned before, cutting up firewood on this sawhorse, so much easier. I see people struggling, they put it under their knees, they're resting on the ground, they're struggling to hold everything. Put your log in there like that, stick your boot on it, make sure it's tight. Three out of this one. I might use a smaller one in a minute. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. And this one, this is actually a good size log. What I might do is save that one. I'll show you how to do it. Don't lay your logs on the ground. It's got some shelter over there out in the snow. you around so you can see what's what. And that's how easy it is to use that as a saw. Actually works really well. I see people doing all kinds of crazy crap. But stack your wood up underneath the tree like I've done over. That's a good sized log. I'm going to keep that one. That's a old crap log, as I call them. Yeah. Get stuck out here, you need some good, and that's good dry wood, and that's about the right length of what I like for really hot fires. So I will go find some smaller stuff in here for in the middle. Be back in a sec. Easy, isn't it? So what I will do, that little one that I got, just going to cut off a bunch of that. Enough to get my fire going. Now, the debate the other day that I saw, is it better to use an axe or a knife? So I have my little axe. So what I need now, I've got some on the end of that one I just cut off there, but I'm just going to find a tree with a bunch of small stuff on it. So, right. All this small, what I call ladder fuel, this stuff, is it easier to take that off of there with a knife or an axe? You be the judge, because it's with an axe. Look at this. Real easy. So be careful hitting trees. So now I have a whole bunch of small stuff down the bottom. Clears out a whole bunch of that ladder fuel off the bottom. Some of the harder ones in these other trees here, it's I actually prefer to use my silky saw, because I can just run it down there like a sword blade pretty much. But well, that's what I'll do. You come and camp in an area like this, you'll be surprised how quickly you thin out a lot of this ladder fuel. Look at it, it's everywhere. And that's one of the reasons that I do it. It's because it's good for the forest. Get rid of this low down stuff. Makes it harder for fire to get up in the canopy. Doesn't make it impossible, just makes it harder. Right, so I will go and put the camera back over there, come back, collect up all my little sticks, and we'll get a fire going. This wind, listen to it, eh? That's why I'm not putting that big log on there. I have a bucket of snow, right? Although it's winter and I've got snow all around the fire, so I can kick a lot of snow on there. I've collected half a bucket of snow, because my water bucket, which I keep over here, you know, is actually frozen solid. So that's not a lot of good. I could stand it by the fire and thaw it out, but no point really. I'll save that for summer. But I do have half a bucket of snow here, ready to go should I need it. And it's always think fire safety, always, always, always. Doesn't matter the time of the year. So in answer to that question, is it better to have an axe or a knife? I mean, you try cutting some of those off with these little knives, and it's not so easy. The bigger stuff with my saw, way easier with a saw, I can tell you. But it's hopefully that answers that question. There are places and uses for everything, but an axe in general can do pretty much, if it's sharp, can do pretty much everything that a knife can do, but a knife can't do everything that an axe can do. So you pick whatever you need. Right, so I'm gonna get this fire going because I've taken my coat off and it's a little chilly. So although it's warmer than it was the other day, we got a wind. The other day when I did my video it was -9, -10. Today is only about -2, but we have a wind, so I can tell you now it feels a lot bloody colder. So I will stop rabbiting. I'm going to get this fire going because I can feel the cold starting to set in. Right, so I'll show you what I've done here. In the bottom of here, when I built this fire pit, I don't just make fire pits in the middle of nowhere, but I like to make sure that everything about the fire pit is good and safe. And if it's not safe, I ain't doing it. Let me just turn it right a little bit so you can see what's going on. There we go. If a fire spot is not safe, I'm not building it. So what I did here when I built this fire ring, I don't know if you've seen my earlier videos, but what I did is underneath all of this I scraped it right down to nothing, and I put about 5 buckets of mineral clay. There's some clay not too far over that way, inert material, doesn't burn. So I put about 5 buckets of that in the bottom, squashed it all down in there to make sure it was good and firm, and then built my rock ring around it. I keep adding to rocks when I find them. This time of the year it's almost impossible to find rocks, but every time I find more rocks I add more rocks to it, and then that makes a good safe fire base. So there's nothing under here that can burn, there's nothing under here that can be a problem. So I have my cotton ball in here. See if I can get a spark to land on there. Did we get it? Yes, we did. Right. I've got a bit of wind today, so I'm just going to cut the small bits on here, just to give that a better fighting chance. And with the cotton ball on there, I don't have to worry about it. As always, make sure you secure all your tools when you're finished. And that is all there is to it. Now I can just feed some little bits onto here. What I've done between the logs, so I've got a couple of logs there, they're only 3 inch, 3.5 inch, not even. And it's but between those logs I've put a whole bunch of small stuff in there. I've got some smaller ones I just cut up over there, and it's as soon as I get this in there, I want to see how this fire progresses. If the wind is too strong, I may not be here all day having a campfire, because although it's a reasonably sheltered spot here, I don't want to have a big raging fire in here with strong winds. So it's going to be a very small fire, which is why there's only 2 logs in there. Yeah. Right, so I will set this up over here somewhere, out the way where junk can't fall on it. I don't have my big tripod with me today. I didn't bring it because I've basically been travelling light today, because I had a lot of snow to move through today. Out on the trails there's actually quite a bit of snow, so I'll leave that there for a second. We'll get good video from there. Get some heat right in here. So I've got a huge fire today. So here like this. This will help set the fire in there. I'm still going to have to mess with this fire a little bit, just to get some heat in there, to get it to do what I want it to do, and then hopefully it'll go good. Like I say, between those 2 logs I put a whole bunch of stuff in, and I don't have a windbreak that I can put around this side of the fire. Keep an eye on it, see what it does. Hopefully all is good. I don't think it's going to be safe. I'll put the fire out and call it a day. So always think for safety first. And as I say in every one of my videos, before you light a fire, you know how you're going to put it out. It's the bucket of snow. I'm surrounded by snow. I've got a big bucket of snow. Only thing I'm not liking is this strong one. This is all flaring up at the moment because I just put a whole bunch of that little stuff in there. Let's see what happens. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I do not want a big fire. And I don't have a windbreak. Now I could, if you want, I could build one of those, what I call useless bloody heat reflectors. But all that will do is get the smoke to go somewhere else. This wind, if you look at the flame, yeah, if the wind was all coming from one direction, it'd be worth me doing that. But it's not. And the other thing is, this ground is frozen solid. So best of luck putting up anything in there. So I will let that burn into there, get into that small stuff. Once the small stuff is stopped flaring up, we will be good. So I'll set that there for a second. And we can see how it goes. Hopefully that fire will settle down once all the little bits are burnt off, and I can slowly feed some bits in the bottom, because I want an embers fire today, not a flame fire. Yeah, flame is unpredictable in this wind. Embers aren't. I can control the embers, but the flames, they flicker around all over the show. You'll notice all around here, let me show you the trees, all around this site. See here where I've removed all the low ladder fuel stuff off of there, and every time I come I remove a bit more. If you camp in an area for a while, anybody that comes out and does this stuff will tell you that if you camp in an area for a while, you'd be surprised how quickly you remove all that stuff too. But you actually get through quite a lot of it. But that's one of the other reasons that I come out and do this. It thins out a lot of this crap in here. You've got to be careful not to take too much out, because that also helps reduce the wind. So. But I can tell you now, down in here, look at those trees there. Hear it? Look at this. This is what I was saying about camping in forests that have got big tall trees with a lot of dead tops. Look at those trees. These trees here are only 50, 80 feet tall, I guess, something like that. So this is a much safer forest to camp in, other than where that bit was the other day, where it was the trees there are 100, 120 feet tall, and most of the tops in those are dead. I'm not too worried about these things snapping out, although you've still got to keep your wits about you. So, as it stands, we should be good. Right, I'll let that fire die down. Once it has died down to embers, I did remember to bring some sausage rolls. I didn't bring tea today, because like I say, I'm travelling light. I had to take a shortcut out across one of the areas there. That it's actually easier to get in here in the winter, believe it or not, than it is in the summer. The reason it's easier to get in here in the winter is one of the ways that I can come in here cuts about 1 kilometre off the walk, but I have to go across a river, and this time of the year the river is completely and utterly frozen. There is no flowing water other than right down in the rocks. There's no real flowing water down in there, so I can tell you now, I can actually cut 1 kilometre off this trip in winter. In the summer I can't cross that bit because there's just too much water, and it's so bloody wet down in there. It's like a swamp. But this time of the year, it's actually pretty good. I can get in here. It's straight across the river. I have, if it's been -20, -30, I've actually walked up the entire river. There's places that I know in the mountains that I can only go in winter because the rivers are frozen. So I know I can get there in winter, I just can't get there in summer. Yeah. So we shall let this fire do its magic. As I always say, make sure your fire is up out of the snow. No matter what you build, I mean, there's these logs in the bottom here. If you've got really mushy, crappy snow, what you can do is find a really punky log, cut it up into like 3 or 4 pieces, and build your fire on top of that, because that punky log's not going to burn very well. And that's a good thing, because get your fire up off the ground, you've got a good fire going, you're not continually battling snow and snow melting and putting half your fire out. So if you're in really bad conditions, you can find a nice punky log. There's several around here that, again, I don't use unless I absolutely have to. That log I've just stood up in the tree over there, that is a really good firewood log, so I will keep that. If I suddenly had to stay out here tonight, what I do is this front row of rocks in here, I take those out, I put those more at the back to make more of a horseshoe. If you look in some of my videos, you'll see that I do like a horseshoe shape piece for the rocks. That does help with the fire because it keeps the wind down, it helps contain it, but it does, the rocks will get nice and hot. You can pick these rocks up and use those for heat later on, but as it stands at the moment, they're just defrosting. So, yeah, I will keep an eye on this. I will feed some little bits in here. I think this is as big as I want this fire. I don't want this fire any bigger than this. Yeah, too windy for a big fire. The wind is supposed to die down later today, so hopefully it will. And once it does, that'll be good. Right, I'll do some more later. So the wind's getting up, so it gets cold on the ears. I can put a toque on. This gives you an idea of what you need when you're out and about. It's great having a toque, and a toque will keep your ears warm. One of these, way better. There are way better ones than these out there. Absolutely there are. But this one, it didn't cost me a huge amount of money. You don't have to spend 500 bucks on one of these, but I can tell you now, the fur in your face actually makes a big difference, a huge difference. This one is waterproof too. This is waterproof. So that's good. So always be prepared. I do have in here, I have my orange toque, my gloves, I've got mitts. So if I have to, I'll put my mitts on. In the middle of winter, have your gloves on, put your mitts on as well. Close over all the seams, make sure that you've got no air getting in here. That'll make it real cold real fast. So this is the size fire that I want. See, the flames have died down now. This is a really easy controllable fire. I've got flame into the logs underneath, the big round ones. I've got good coals in there now. So this is as big as this fire needs to go. So this time of the year, make sure you got your stuff. It is about 8 degrees warmer than it was in my last video. There we go. It's about 8 degrees warmer in my last video. But it's I tell you, these things aren't expensive, but in really cold weather, this can make the difference between freezing and not. You've got a good hat. The toque will keep you warm. These, you put a toque on, I've done it before, and it gets really cold. If you get into the -20s and this wind starts blowing, you can hit -40, -50 wind chill. That's not funny. Yeah, that'll kill you. And your brain actually starts to hurt, your head hurts. You can actually feel your head, it feels like someone's crushing your head, it hurts. So it's toque on, hat on, mitts on, gloves on, make sure you've got everything. So although it's only -2 today, I have everything that I need should I need to stay overnight. So hopefully that won't be the case. So because I have this nice gap underneath these logs, I can slide these pieces in under here. Yeah. Anybody who's not familiar with silky saws, they're second to none. I've not yet found anything that works as good as these. I know there are people in Norway that would disagree with me. I can't remember what the Norwegian one's called. It's got a big wooden handle. and it's a very nice tool to use. Somebody had one when I tried it. It's actually a very nice tool to use, but I prefer this. Whatever floats your boat, I like these. They're really handy, insanely sharp. I mean, this thing still cuts like crazy. There's not a single tree in this piece of forest that I'm in that I can't cut down and process with this sort of knob. With this and that axe, I can process firewood all day long, all day, all night. But, hopefully not all night today. Yeah. Right. I did remember my toasty fork today, so as soon as I got some more coals in there, I am going to make myself some hot food back in a mo. Just going to show you this. A lot of people cut up their wood to make it fit the fire, but you can also make the fire fit the wood. So what you do, see that long one I put on there? Way too long for the fire. What it will do is it will burn out the middle. That wood is a little bit wet, so as it's burning out the middle, it's heating that piece of wood. So not only are you using that now for your fire, you're also drying that piece of wood out. So once it's burnt through, those two pieces, the ends will drop. That'll drop, that'll drop. Once the ends drop, I can just pick them up, turn around, put them in. That wood's already preheated, ready to go. It's already dried out, it's ready to go. So you can make the fire fit the wood, or you can make the wood fit the fire. It's whichever way around you want to go. But sometimes if I've got a big log that it's a pain in the ass to cut through, I'll do that. I'll burn the middle of the log out and then just turn the ends round once it's done, because it dries the wood, it's ready to go. It's up to combustion temperature, it's ready to go. I'm hoping this wind's going to die down. It doesn't seem as gusty. Today they were saying 30 to 50 kilometers an hour. But anything over about 50, I'm not having a fire, and anything over about 50, because that's kind of pushing the envelope there a bit. Anything less than that, it's fair game. Yeah. Right. I will do some more in a mo. Once I've burnt through this one, I got a good supply of embers in the bottom there. Now I just chucked some small bits in there just so I could show you how to burn out the middle of a piece. Once they've all settled down, I will get some food going. Right, anyone that watches my channel, I bet you can't possibly guess what I'm going to make for food. It's going to be a huge surprise. I bet you can't guess. Sausage roll. Yeah. Now, if I get this just right, I might. Yeah, I can find one. Toasty fork. Got a rock on the end of it. Toasty fork, rock. Perfect. This is a smaller fire than what I had yesterday, so it's going to take a little bit longer to heat that up. Yesterday's fire was bloody hot, actually. That was a really good hot fire. Today's fire, not so much. Doesn't need to be as hot. Trying to keep the fire down a little bit today. I didn't bring my tripod with me today, so apologies for all the camera moving around. However, it's just what you need to do. It's one of those things. So I don't need my great big hat on, but I am going to put my toque on, because regulating your temperature, this is why it's very important to have an assortment of gear with you. Like, I've got my great big hats with me, I've got my big mitts, I've got my small gloves. I don't need my small gloves, and my hands are actually cold. In this wind, yesterday was -10, but my hands didn't feel cold. Today is only -2, but with the wind, let me tell you, it feels cold. So you have to be very, very careful not to get caught out by the conditions around you. It's very easy to set off and you think, okay, yeah, that's wonderful and all the rest of that crap. But when the wind suddenly changes, you know, I was down in a valley on the way here. I was walking through the bottom of a valley, and there was no wind down there whatsoever. It was lovely. It's been a fantastic place to build a fire. However, I don't know what's underneath that ground under there. So it's like I say, whenever I'm lighting the fire, I want to know what's under it as well, not just what's around it. I know this is a big open clear site. When I first started camping out here, this was actually, there was so much ladder fuel everywhere. It was just crazy. So I had to clear a whole bunch of it back before it was actually safe to get a decent sized fire going in here. So don't just light a fire in the middle of nowhere, because that can cause big problems. There's no moisture in these trees. These trees would burn so bloody fast, it's not funny. Yeah. So that is warming up. Make sure we rotate the oven every now and again. Just turn the sticks over. This one that I had on here that was burning through the middle, the long one, it already burned through. It burns through fast. You don't realise how much wood, when you look at how much flame and everything there was there earlier. You look at it and you think that fry will last a long time. That's not. Yeah. So if you're out somewhere overnight, you need those big logs. That's why I kept that other one. That's a good overnight fire log, that is. Yeah. But that one that I cut, one that I showed you. Just give you an example. Right. If I was camping out here overnight, this size log, that diameter, I would want probably 30 to 40 of those just to make sure I can get through the night. And it, depending on the species of wood, you may need more. If you have access to good hardwood, this is kind of pine or other. This is 15 to halfway, so it's about a 25-30-year-old piece of pine. But if you have access to good hardwood, then you wouldn't need so many because it will burn for longer. This stuff doesn't burn for long. It really doesn't. But yeah, if I was camping overnight, I'd want to make sure I had about 30 or 40 of these all stacked up in a decent stack. Because it's better to have too many than not enough. Yeah. Go back at the wood store. Right, let's see what my food is doing. It's not overly hot. See, I can keep my hand there, which tells me that that's not overly hot, which is good. I don't want a raging fire today. I need a smaller, controllable fire. The fire I had yesterday had 3 logs in like this, twice as long as these, and that fire got going really good, really hot. But trying to keep it a bit smaller today because of the weather conditions. On my next little stack of firewood down here, I don't know if you can see that on camera, I've got a whole bunch of these little shorts cut here. They're all sitting up against the fire, they're all warming up, they're out in the snow. When you cut your firewood, make sure you keep it out in the snow. You'll be surprised. If you've got to cut it in, you'll be surprised how quickly that starts soaking up moisture. Yeah. How are we doing? Oh, she's getting warm. Yeah, that's deceptive. Rock back on the end of there. Yeah. So the idea is just to warm your food through. You don't want to burn it. Push those sticks in, yeah. Put those in there. Once I finish making this, I can put another couple of these little bits on there. So you use the big logs as your main source of embers, and then just pile loads of little bits in between. I think it will probably good. Well, yeah, that feels good. Right, I'm going to sit and eat this, and get back to you in a bit. Many of my videos. Once you've had something to eat, make sure you have something to drink. Cheers, people. That's my campfire. It's one of those things. Your body actually needs water to process food. As I've said before, if you put a horse in a field full of hay, you ain't going to eat it unless there's water nearby. It needs the water for digestion. As you've noticed, I've let my fire die down quite a bit. I'm going to chuck some more pieces on there in a second. One of the things that gentleman mentioned the other day, this is why it's important to regulate the temperature. I know I can feel my hands getting cold. So that's the time that you need to pay attention to what's going on, because you can end up with really numb fingers, not even realise it. You know, suddenly things get cold and you don't know. Yeah. Until you go to pick something up and then you think, hey, why am I dropping all this stuff? But the guy that I was watching the other day, he's also of the same mind that I am with all this bushcraft garbage clickbait shit that's out there. And it oh, incidentally, this is brought to you by the half-naked dancing girls, which are going to dance right behind here in a minute in their bikinis, doing the can-can through the snow. Well, I can't see them. Maybe they didn't get the memo, but you know the crap I mean. You see these girls out doing all this crap. They don't know one end of a bloody knife from another. They wouldn't know how to make a fire if their life depended on it. But it's all about clickbait, it's all about views and all this other good crap. So while I'm talking, my fire's dying down. So let me just put another couple of bits on. There we go. That should certainly help the fire situation. So yes, be very careful of a lot of that stuff you see. I'm quite convinced that the young man in Lapland had been watching a lot of these videos and figured, hey, I can go out and do that. He'd made a few videos. His gear and skill set certainly wasn't up to what I would call up to par, that's for sure. You know, I have some skills. Am I the best in the world at it? No. Are there people out there way better than me? Oh yeah. You look at Ray Mears and all those people, you know, they've spent an entire lifetime doing that kind of stuff. But people see the likes of Ray or Survival Russia or Far North or any of these other fantastic channels that are out there. They see people doing that stuff and they think they can go and do it. You know, they think they come out here. I mean, this is -2, right? But if you camp here tonight, wrong gear, -2, it's going to drop down to about -14 tonight. If you were out here with the wrong gear, you're not getting up in the morning. You know, you're going to freeze to death in the middle of the night. Simple as that. You know, you are not getting up in the morning. So people don't realise. They think like minus cold is here. They see all these videos, -20, -30, snowdrift, snowstorm, blizzards, all this other crap, all these other clickbait headlines that they put in there for their little title pages and what have you. For their what do they call it? The little pictures they put up there. But anyway, the dancing girls clearly didn't get the message. I don't see any half-naked dancing girls. If you see them in the film behind me, let me know, because I missed them. They were supposed to be here for the video, but they didn't turn up. Yeah, weird that, eh? Yeah. So take all that stuff with a little pinch of salt. A lot of it's absolute garbage. It's like anything else. Social media has become a bit of a joke board. That wind is no joke. I can feel my ears. This is why it's very important to regulate your temperature. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, you've got the wrong gear, it's your ears start to burn, your hands start to get cold. You can get frostbite real fast, you don't realise it. In the snow, one of the things that I was saying, keep the firewood out of the snow, one of the things you will see me do if it's -20 is I'll cut up a bunch of firewood and I'll have some decent sized logs on the ground and I stand on those logs. Because even though I've got decent winter boots on, you'll be surprised in -20 how much the snow and the cold in the ground will suck the heat out of your feet. You don't realise it, but your body goes into defensive mode and it'll know your feet are getting cold. So what it'll tend to do is it tends to bring all your blood and everything, it constricts it into your core because that's what's going to keep you alive. So all your blood flow in your hands changes, your blood flow in your feet changes. Next thing you know, you can't walk. And I think that's what happened to that young man. The report was he got snow down his boots. You get snow in your boot and your feet freeze, you suddenly find that your body constricts all the blood flow because it knows it's freezing, and suddenly you can't walk. Now, that's no fun. Getting in and out of places like this, if you can't walk, you're in big trouble. So pay attention to the good channels out there. There are plenty of them. Pay attention to them. Ignore the bloody garbage. Don't click on them just because there's some girl with big tits sitting there carving something with a knife. She wouldn't know one end of this thing from another. You know, it's like, well, which is the sharp end? Oh, that's the sharp end. Yeah. Okay. that's about as much as she knows. Yeah. So ignore that crap. Make sure you know what you're watching. If you were watching a video on hang gliding, would you go out and buy a hang glider and think, hey, look, there's a big cliff, let me go and jump off that, I'll learn on the way down? No, you won't. You'll just end up as a big crumpled pile of crap on the bottom and you're dead. And it's no different with this. People come out and they think they can just do this stuff willy-nilly. You can't. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, like I say, I've been doing this for nearly 50 years. I'm reasonable at it. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm reasonable at it. I know roughly what I'm doing. I know how to survive out here in -20. But trust me, that's not a pleasant. You're not going to have a pleasant night's sleep. You'll spend most of it putting wood on a really big fire. That fire would be twice that size and stacked up here, and I'd be sleeping right here. I have actually, in the past, this piece of wood that I'm sitting on, I have actually napped on this piece of wood. I use the word napped, not sleep, napped on this piece of wood the entire night. Yeah, because it was the only thing I had to get me up off the ground. So I put up a shelter, just a tent shelter like that, just a straightforward up and down tarp, and I actually slept on this. So it's sleep was sleep's the wrong word. Nap would be the best word, because you can't sleep, you just keep rolling off the bloody thing. But it was the only thing I had to keep me up off the ground. So I turned the logs round sideways like this, laid them on the ground so it wasn't so high, so it didn't have so high fall. And it's easier then because your arms keep hitting the floor, so you know where you are. But because of the tarp I had with me, I couldn't go this high because the tarp wasn't big enough. So the tarp was only about the smallest area I could possibly get. But I did have with me my hot water bottles and my little stove thing. So that is what kept me warm. I filled up my hot water bottles, stuffed them in my coat, stuffed them out. I had my little sleeping bag with me. I didn't have my big sleeping bag with me. I had my little sleeping bag, and that's what kept me warm all night. Just 2 hot water bottles, and you spend half the night warming up the water and putting it back in again. However, that's what you have to do. So it's one of those things. Ignore the garbage that you see out there. There's way too much crap. Yeah. Like I say, if you watch the video on hang gliding, would you go out and buy a hang glider? No. Watch a video on bushcraft, only everybody thinks they're a bloody expert. If you go out and buy a hang glider and you jump off a cliff, you'll find out very quickly on the way down at 32 feet per second. It's the 180 miles an hour fall that is the problem, and but that's not what will kill you. It's the rapid deceleration at the bottom. So yes, make sure you've got your gear, make sure you know what you're doing, and above all, have fun. Yeah, if you're going to go out and do this stuff, don't necessarily do it on your own. I know I do, but don't necessarily do it on your own. Go out with a group here, it's way safer. Yeah, a big group of people is, you see these things, Naked and Afraid, and I love all those programs. They're the best comedy programs out there. Naked and Afraid is not a program that I would call anything else other than a bloody comedy, because you see these people, they're freezing to death and they're sleeping 2 feet apart. Oh my god, he might touch me in the middle of the night. Yeah, well, guess what? Your body puts off 800 BTUs an hour. So if you're actually fucking wedged in together, why do you think animals sleep in a big pile? You know, they don't sleep 2 feet apart. No, they're all in a great big pile, big dog pile, mate. And it's no different. If you're out doing that Naked and Afraid crap and you're with some woman or whatever, she doesn't like the fact that, you know, you're spooning one way or the other. It doesn't matter which way round you go. You need that heat. 800 BTUs an hour, you need that heat. You've got to save that heat. Put your modesty away, because that ain't going to keep you alive. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually one of the best comedy programs out there, that Naked and Afraid. It's crap. I try not to watch it unless I need something to laugh at. Yeah. Right, I'm going to stop waffling, because in my backpack hanging up that tree, I happen to know that there's an incredibly nice grapefruit in there. So the grapefruit I've got lately are really yummy, so I'm going to grab that, eat that, and get back to you later. Right, and build this fire back up a bit. The wind is kind of slowing down a little bit. It's not as gusty as it was. It's still gusty. It's not as gusty as it was. We'll take that. There it comes. As soon as I said that. Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, if it came to staying here all night, I'll show you what to look for in the forest. What you're looking for dead standing trees. You hear all this dead standing, dead standing, dead standing, this is what you need. But what exactly is that? And why is it important? Let me show you. So all of these trees here, these are all live. That one there isn't. That's a thin one. How long is this going to keep you going in terms of firewood? Hour, hour and a half. Alright, let's head over this way. Another one here, look at this one. Dead right to the top. That's a good sized tree. Again, that's about four hours worth of wood there. 4 or 5 hours worth easily. Yeah. Not a smaller one there, crooked one. That one there's still green on the top. That one's green on the top. Some of these trees, they look like they're dead, but they're not. So don't cut those down. The one that I have here, which is my emergency tree, is this one. It's, what are we looking at? 6 inches at the base. If I took that down with the ones over to the side, there's another couple down over there. That's enough wood for me for all night. But I would literally be clearing out 4 or 5 trees out of here, good sized trees, just for one overnight fire. Which is why you don't see me doing overnight fire videos, because basically I can't justify cutting that amount of firewood just to make a half-hour video. But all the way through this forest there's loads and loads of those really tall dead ones. There's another one down through there that I've got my eye on. Yeah. Yep. Helps remove some of the crap out the forest. But remember, a dead tree to us looks like it's no use, but to all the insects and the wildlife and everything that are around here, there's so much wildlife in that. Especially you've got these great big old stumps. If you look at the aspens, when the aspens die off, they become home for just about everything. Everything lives in an aspen tree. Right, so I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to sit and enjoy this fire. It's going good. I need to get some more through the middle there. I haven't got enough through the middle. I'm going to get some more through the middle, and then I'll get back later and see how it goes. Right, I am actually going to start packing up because getting everything put away. I've put my bench mat away. This wind is not dying down, it's getting worse. I've just dumped a bunch of snow on there. Just going to stir all that up, make sure this is completely out. As you can see, there's still steam coming off it. When I leave here, there won't be. So I've just dumped a bucket of snow on there just to help start cooling it down. You'll be surprised how quickly that works. It's magic. It turns it all into water and cools it real fast. Because the fire needs heat, fuel and oxygen. You start adding a lot of water to it, trust me, it soon cools down. Right, I've got to stir all that up, make sure she's out. Time for me to get out of here because this wind is not relenting, so it's actually going to get worse. So I will call that it for now. Thank you for coming along, much appreciated. Catch you on the next one.